Pots, Pans, and Pioneers. Today I'm going to be preserving some oranges. And here are all the oranges. It's a case of oranges from Johnston Farms. They're Blue Jay oranges. They do have some seeds, but very minimal. And they're very fresh. The leaves are still green. And I'm going to be peeling the oranges, canning the oranges, and then candying the peels. And we're going to have candied orange peel. You can eat candied orange peel there in sugar, or you can dip them in all kinds of white chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, and give them as gifts. So let's get started. We're going to save all the peels, so we're not going to toss them. Some parchment paper. Just so I'm not working directly on the table here. And I'm going to use my jars to sort of weight down my paper. And these are pretty easy to peel. They come right apart. I'm going to remove the stems, and I'm going to just preserve the peel. And these are really sweet and fairly juicy. Ashley, can you bring me a knife? So you can do your peels like this, where they're just torn off of the orange. You can candy them that way if you want to. And then we're going to take the orange and we're going to open it up, and you need to separate each section. So for canning purposes, get my bowl over here, I'm going to separate each section of the orange and drop it in the bowl. Now when I've canned oranges before, I've had ice water to put them in, but sometimes the ice water actually draws out the juice, and I don't really want to do that in this case. I want to can them in I'm doing mine in a medium to heavy syrup, but you could do these in a light syrup if you wanted to. And wherever I see a seed, I would just extract it. I don't see any seeds in that one, so we'll extract it. Okay, the stem. And the second way to do this is you're going to remove your stem, and then you're going to take your knife. You want to be really skilled at using a knife to do it, but you're going to take it and you're going to score. Trying to make sure I keep my hand out of the way. You're going to score it down like that. So your peel is going to be in sections. And then if you put a little bit of pressure on it, you're going to be able to see that peel where I've scored it. And you're just going to take the peel in the section and lay it down. Take the peel, lay it down. Just do it that way, and make sure the orange peel is pretty, it's a good size. And then we're going to separate our orange again, throw it in another container so we can can. Separate, and if you see any membranes, just remove those membranes. They often will make canning oranges bitter, so you want to remove them. Now, to be able to prepare the orange peel to be candied, obviously you want to make sure and wash all of your. I wiped all these, but you can obviously wash them. And you're going to take your knife and you're going to just cut them into little slivers like that. So you're gonna just take it and cut it into slivers. You may want to have a cutting board under. This is an old table, so it's okay. But and then we're going to save all of these. I'm going to go ahead and do my case of oranges, and we're going to save these into a different container, and then I'll show you how to candy orange peels in a different video. This is just the prep stage. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, here is our bounty that we peeled and separated. And I'm going to freeze some, can some oranges. And let's see, here I've also sliced some of the orange peels, and I'm going to make my simple syrup to go with the canning. And to do the candied orange peel, I'm going to go ahead and make my syrup with the orange peel. And then with the remaining orange peel, I've bagged them up into 2 big gallon-size Ziploc bags, and I've removed all the air, as much air as I can get out, and I'm going to freeze these. This makes great potpourri. You can dehydrate them. You can render them off with water and a little sugar to make a great iced tea. There's just 1,000 ways to use an orange peel, and I'll use these for later videos as well. Okay, so let's get going with our syrup. Okay, we've got all of our oranges sectioned off and our jars have sterilized. I put them in the dishwasher on sterilized, so they're super hot and ready to be filled. And we're just going to, I put them in this crate just to hold them tight. But we're gonna fill the jars, and we're gonna leave a 1/2 inch headspace. Need a few more. More. Oops, too much. You want to leave about 1/2 inch because we're going to pour some syrup here on top of them, and we're going to have to leave yet another 1/2 inch. Okay, we're going to fill our jars and we'll be back before we put the syrup in. Okay, we've got all of our jars filled, and this is the ginger and clove. It's probably a medium syrup. And these 4 jars, I've just poured distilled water in to the top of the headspace, and I've removed all of the bubbles with a plastic. Now to these 4 right here, I'm going to add a tablespoon of sugar on top, and as it's canning and heating up, the sugar and the water are going to make its own syrup. These 4 right here. So there's no spices in these 4. And we'll use those for some other recipes. So I'm just going to take the sugar and drop it in the tops, just like that. Tablespoon of pure cane sugar. Okay. Then you always want to make sure you wipe your rims. This is not meat, so it has no grease, so you don't need vinegar on your towel. You can, but you don't need it. You're going to wipe your rims to make sure there's nothing that's going to prevent it from sealing. Making sure you're wiping each jar. You know, places around the country, there's a lot of times when oranges are not in season. So if you're a prepper or you're a person who likes to preserve food, oranges are a really good source of not only energy, a food source, but we all know that vitamin C is one of the cures for cancer, and you really need to have this as part of your prepping stock and a part of your diet. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add our lids on. And I add them and I press down because these are rubber. These aren't the Tattler lids, they're just standard canning lid. And I'm just pressing. I haven't boiled these lids, but I've poured boiling water over them and I've let them set for a few minutes. These are going to be water bath canned for 10 minutes until you get a rolling boil, and then 10 extra minutes to complete the canning process. Okay, and our last lid, I didn't have enough for one last jar, so we're going to remove that jar. And I'm just going to lightly press. Then we're going to take our lids and we're going to screw them down. Now I always tell people lady tight. If a guy screws these down, he's liable to make them too tight. And what will happen is the jar has a likelihood of explosion. If you put these too tight, you just want them lady tight. Just slightly tight. You don't want them loose because you're going to get canning water in them. So just very, very light, tight. If you have your husband help you or your boyfriend or whoever, if they crank them down, you're likely to have an explosion because the pressure builds in these jars. Okay, we're going to get them in the canner and we'll be back when the canner is at a rolling boil and we'll check them. Okay, we've got a rolling boil and we're going to water can these for about 20 minutes. And we'll be back when we get them out of the jars. Well, the jars out of the water canner. Okay, here are our first 7 jars that have been canned. Perfectly clear, perfectly beautiful oranges. And they've all sealed but one, so they've all popped except for one, and I'm watching it. So, thanks everybody for watching.